Hello and welcome to the Gaming Mix podcast, your mix for all things gaming. I'm Jeff Young, and this is the official podcast for Analog Stick Gaming. I'm joined once again by Keith Mitchell of the Outerhaven.net to talk all things Deadpool and Wolverine. Sadly, in typical X-Men fashion, Jordan has contracted the legacy virus and is out today and not feeling well. Keith, how you doing?
I don't know. I would like to have the legacy virus. You know what that thing does? It's kind of cool. But I'm doing great. Jordan, hope you feel better. And also, I'm taking your spot again, man. I totally blame you in playing too much Elden Ring, staying up all night. I told you about that.
That's what it is.
I told you.
He just didn't have the items to like craft the thing to like make him feel better and stuff.
My dude is so addicted to Elden Ring now. It's just ridiculous. Oh my god.
Wolverine cup.
Those things, we actually got two of those, but when we came back out, they were completely sold out. Everybody's complaining that they're not there anymore. When I went in, I was like, get those now. And my wife's like, we can get them. No, get them now.
Yeah, they had so many cups and so many different popcorn buckets. Like, we didn't get the popcorn bucket that they were advertising with the movie and stuff like that. We got this other Wolverine one, and then the Deadpool head that was flying around with the ripped mask.
I went in that one, but that one was completely gone time we got to the theater.
Yeah. No, they had some pretty decent stuff. I didn't like the Deadpool one of this, and my Wolverine one, I gotta fix it a little bit. It's kind of like pulled on there, but no, it's a neat little cup.
It's pretty cool.
It's textured.
How much did it cost you to get one? Because they were like
20.
Yeah, they were like $25 here plus tax, and I was like, "Good God."
Shit! Yeah, it was 21 after tax with fill.
Between the two cups and the popcorn bucket, I could have brought a game or something. Jeez, 2 games.
Yeah, I know.
2 games.
It's ridiculous, and I kind of wish that they would have had Deadpool and Wolverine 3D glasses, because like Wolverine glasses with like the fins of the mask would have been cool. But no, it was great. All right, we'll kind of start with like general thoughts here. So basically, like, this is a spoiler cast. So at some point we are going to basically kind of like just talk everything about the film.
All of it.
Right down to everything.
You don't want to be spoiled, don't be here.
I've been watching a bunch of Easter egg videos as well. Emergency Awesome. If you have the chance to check out his stuff is amazing.
My man is him and the other guy. It's just like, I've already seen the movie. I got like a 2-hour video. I'm like, holy crap, man! What are you doing?
Yeah, no, it is insane. But yeah, so like general thoughts. I think that this is easily my favorite Deadpool movie. This is my third favorite MCU film, behind Infinity War and Endgame. But this is the type of film that they tell you a premise of what it's going to be. They show you the trailers of what it's going to be, and it absolutely capitalizes on what those things are. It doesn't try to mislead in its marketing or anything like that. Like, this is exactly what they aim to do.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Even with the trailers that you saw before you got to see the movie, there was nothing in these trailers that were like, hey, we're going to hook you with this and totally not show you the movie or change what you see in the movie. This movie was 100% straight on Deadpool, Wolverine. We'll just say a love fest. And among other things that we'll talk about later on. This is easily one of my favorite movies behind Infinity Wars and Deadpool. I'm sorry, Infinity Wars, Endgame, and Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
That movie has a special place in my heart for what it actually did. But this, if you're talking about revitalizing the Marvel Cinematic Universe, stuff like this, this was great.
Yeah, no, they did a good job. I mean, like, it took like quite a while to kind of like happen. I mean, again, too, like a lot of the time it took to make this film, there's the Disney buyout and all that kind of stuff. So there were limitations and restrictions on how fast they could kind of get this going. And then, obviously, like, even when like the first Deadpool came out, like 3 days prior or something, Hugh Jackman had retired as Wolverine. And then, him kind of coming back and him, Ryan Reynolds kind of teasing it, going, "Hey, Hugh, want to come back as Wolverine?" He's like, "Yeah, sure, Ryan, whatever you say." Like in that little like teaser kind of thing, and it's they did such a good job, and I think a lot of it comes down to like the chemistry that Ryan and Hugh have.
It's kind of unfair. It's just like they have such a relationship dating back since their early beginnings. It's just like they're bestest friends, and it's like we're just gonna make this movie about two polar opposites that become sort of like bestie friends in a movie, and we're gonna be ourselves, and that's what made the movie so great. It's like we're gonna be ourselves, and we're gonna play off each other. And every still that I saw about the movie being made, or them talk about the movie at the end, it's just them laughing and having fun. And it's like, can I have a career like that where I'm just having fun and doing exactly what I want to do?
Yeah,
It's exactly what they did.
and I think what helps as well too is like Sean Levy is such a good friend of Ryan Reynolds as well.
Yeah.
So there is that history that they've got working together, and I think Sean Levy is going to become, I think, a bigger Marvel director as well too. Like I wouldn't be a bit surprised if he is behind the X-Men movie that is going to come out.
That would be
I would,
interesting. That'd be interesting,
yeah.
actually.
So I think
And
there's some pretty interesting things there.
just like you mentioned, they also stated that they weren't going to do this movie without showing up to him. So it's like, there you go. You got him. You got Reynolds. You got Hugh.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, like, according to some sources, it appears that Wolverine, like Hugh Jackman, does have um, additional appearances on his contract. So
Of course he does. Of course he
Secret,
does.
Secret Wars, especially, like, we don't know if he'll be part of
Oh my
Avengers
god.
Doomsday.
Oh my god. Now you're adding that stuff into here, man. I knew you were going to do it. I saw you last night. You were going, we'll
It's
talk
gonna be
about that.
amazing.
We'll
It's gonna
talk
be
about that.
amazing.
I got some frustrations. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, but no, like I'm super excited to see if Hugh Jackman comes back to do, like Wolverine, kind of like, if Secret Wars is the reset, it would be amazing to kind of see him as part of that. But yeah, all right. So we're gonna dive into kind of like the story elements of Deadpool and Wolverine. So from now on, the kitty gloves are off. We are going to be talking about everything about the game, about the movie. So it kind of opens with, I think, one of the best opens in the MCU, because like you
Yeah.
have, Deadpool, like it's like, oh, we weren't going to, we definitely don't want to like desecrate like the legacy of the Logan movie, except we are like, and then they basically dig out, he basically digs out Logan's body from that movie and uses the adamantium to essentially fight a whole bunch of TVA agents, all while rocking out to NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye, doing the dance moves in between a lot of the credits.
I wonder if that was actually Reynolds or somebody else. Um, Also, if you
Yeah.
haven't taken notice, if you go to YouTube, NSYNC changed their video, the title of their video to include "in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie" to get
Oh,
more eyes
nice.
on it. So I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, desecrated Wolverine's body. He was like, "I'm coming out. I'm not going to use my weapons." And it's like, "But I got a dead body of Wolverine right here."
Yeah.
And
And then
before that
yeah.
though, when he was like, "I'm going to get Wolverine. We're going to do this great movie. We're going to save my universe." Blah 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 blah. And he's like, he goes ape shit because Wolverine is dead. And he's like, "Yeah, you can't die. How are you dead?"
Breaks the shoulder over the shovel over his knees and stuff. And yeah, he's like, yeah, you went and dead. And then, like, because again, he's breaking the fourth wall and he's like moving the mouth and he's speaking Australian because Hugh Jackman is Australian, Wolverine isn't. So he's calling him Hugh all the time. He's not calling him like Wolverine. But no, and then like he gets the claws and then it cuts to, it's like, I bet you're wondering how I got here type of thing.
Which was great. Which was
And
so
then
good.
it cuts back to like where like Deadpool has like he's destroyed the time watch essentially after a certain period of time, but it shows him like trying to like join the Avengers and then getting shut down by Happy Hogan, and this and that, and in him trying to get into the Avengers is months before Infinity War, um, because it's like March 18th, 2018 or something like that. And Infinity War is just a couple months after that. And he gets kind of shut down from that. And then he kind of goes on living his life. He's destroyed the time watch and stuff. He's selling cars with Peter.
Some bootleg CarMax thing. It was,
yeah.
I thought it was depressing, but at the same time, it's like, they were mirroring life. Like you 1 second you're on top of the world, you're doing something you love to do. The next second you're like, well, I got to do it because I got to do it, so let me do it. And it hit me hard because, again, as I mentioned a while ago, I recently got laid off, so I'm like, you got to do what you got to do. This sucks. So I totally related to that character at that time.
Yeah, and so he does that, and then he kind of goes back to his house because it's his birthday, so everybody's kind of there. So you have the cameo fest of like Maria Baccarin, and like you have Colossus, and then you have Yuiko, I think is her name. I can't remember. But you have basically everybody who's kind of been a certain thing. And then that one guy tries to talk and he's like, listen here, like day staffer or whatever. It's like, you don't get paid for lines kind of thing. And then we kind of have the first injection of the proper MCU, and that's a TVA agents known, throughout the Loki series, showing up at his house. And basically that kind of pulls him into the TVA, and we meet Paradox, who's essentially kind of like becomes like the villain of the piece, and he tells Deadpool that the higher ups want him for something big, and that unfortunately his universe is going to die, so he can join the MCU, or he can stay and like watch his universe essentially die, because they talk about a trying to think of the term, like it's almost kind of like what was the term for the like alpha character?
I don't remember,
but there's kind of like an anchor.
Anchor.
There's an anchor, and essentially Wolverine from that universe, because Deadpool takes place in the same universe as Logan.
I want to add real quick to that. So I think a lot of people are like, still, what was really great about that is if you watch the Marvel What If series, and you watch the one where Doctor Strange is trying to bring back
the Nexus being.
That was exactly what it was. At that point in time,
similar,
she was always going to die. That was an important person within all of those universes. Without Christine dying, the universe probably went kaput. And it did, because when he saved her, everything went to crap.
Yeah. So it's very similar. Like, I think it's more coincidence than I think borrowed. But essentially, like with Logan dying, he tells him that the Fox universe essentially is dead, which is meta. It is what it is. And then Deadpool's like, well, fuck this. And he grabs the temp pad, leaves, and he goes on this hunt of like tracking down other Wolverines. And we get like tiny Wolverine, like accurate height Wolverine, which was
the comic Wolverine. Hilarious.
We get like the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, where he's missing the arm. And
I thought that was so cool. I was like, oh my god.
I know. He even had like a little hair and everything going too. We get the Wolverine that is like tied up on the cross from covers from a long time ago.
Fever Dreams, was it?
Yeah. We get the brown and orange suit Wolverine fighting the Hulk. Even though it should have been Gray Hulk based on the cover that they were kind of doing, because like he had the claws going and the reflections, but still it was a nice little Hulk cameo.
I guess they couldn't do Gray Hulk because Gray Hulk doesn't exist in the MCU. So
no, but like they could have just done that, because like it just would have been a nod to what they were actually doing, because like technically a lot of stuff in this movie doesn't exist in the MCU. But like they could have done that. And then like it keeps panning. It shows like Patch Logan where he's wearing Patch. The white suit.
I geeked out when I saw Patch. I was like, Patch.
And then they keep showing this one Wolverine at the back working on his bike. And then eventually they go on there and like, oh, it's the Calverine. And it's like Henry Cavill as Wolverine.
He really should be in MCU. I mean, God.
He should be in the MCU, but I don't think Logan, at least not with that makeup. Like that.
Oh, like, no, not at all. No, be something else.
Yeah, he looked kind of weird. But I like that. It's like Cavill, come here. We'll teach you better than those fucks up the street. Like just ripping on DC. So that stuff was good. And then he eventually comes across this Wolverine who's kind of like, um, the kind of like the most failed Wolverine in the history of Wolverines, essentially. And we learn why. But no, he ends up recruiting that one, and then he notices that he's wearing the outfit. He drops him into the TVA, and he's like, "Listen, I got a Wolverine there. We're done." And then Wolverine stands up, and Deadpool's like, "Hey, welcome to the MCU. You're joining at kind of a bit of a low point right now," which is super funny. Um, a line that I'm shocked got approved. There's a lot of lines in this movie that I
this is R-rated. This is R-rated, which drives me to this one thing, and I got frustrated. And I get it because I'm a parent, and I think I try to pay attention to what's happening around my kids. So there's a bunch of people there who brought their kids to the movie, and I'm like, wait, this is a rated R movie. What the heck? Why are they here? Now I get it, Deadpool and Wolverine comics and MCU, and they like it, but parents, don't call me square on the real. You bring your kids to this, to everything that they said in this movie, everything that was said in this movie.
Probably a lot of it flies over their head as well too. But yeah, like the self-deprecating humor against the MCU is one thing that I'm surprised just kept getting approved, because they make a lot of pot shots.
Oh, they had to. It had to stay in it because that is Deadpool. That is literally his motto, his MO. They if they had changed that, it wouldn't have been a Deadpool movie. And I think they realized that. It was like, we can't change anything about this character. Literally, if you watch Deadpool 1 and 2, then watch this, you're like, well, he didn't change whatsoever. Literally did not change.
Yeah. But so he ends up getting that Wolverine, and then during kind of a scuffle, they both get basically zapped with those like batons that kind of like send them to essentially the void, which Loki got sent to, I think in season 2.
Yep.
So they're basically in the void, and it's kind of like the remnants of like all the Lost Fox stuff. So like they get there, and then they end up meeting like Captain America, and Deadpool's like freaking out and stuff. It's like, oh my god, it's a superhero jump, and then he jumps down. And I mean, I knew it was Johnny Storm. Like even when he stood up, he had like the same like outfit that he had in the previous ones, but like the black line going on there. No, it's Johnny Storm, and then they end up fighting a bunch of like kind of like bad guys and stuff. There's like Pyro and all that, but Wolverine ends up killing Sabretooth. They have their big fight, and this is also like Wolverine and Deadpool had their big fight as well too. Even though I think the second fight that they have is a little better. No, and then Pyro basically like incapacitates Johnny Storm, and then they all get kidnapped and then taken to Ant-Man's or Giant Man's body, essentially, which has become this like fortress for Cassandra Nova. She kind of rules the void. This is based off an agreement that she has with the TVA. And it's a house of all of the old failed X-Men stuff. Like you have Lady Deathstrike, which is recast. You have Juggernaut, who is recast. You've got a bunch of, Psylocke is there, she's recast. Toad is there, it's still Ray Park. But then like Deadpool and Wolverine go there, and there's this scene essentially where Cassandra Nova kills Johnny Storm because she's been trying to get him for the longest time. And that's a funny scene because like Deadpool is like saying all this stuff that Johnny apparently said, and Johnny's like, I didn't say any of that. But then like the post-credit scene is literally him saying that shit.
Yeah, that was great. I do have one gripe. And we're both comic book fans, so there has always been a question between who would win between Pyro and Human Torch, and a lot of the conversation edged towards Johnny winning just because Johnny AIDS and Vince is immune to fire. B, he doesn't have the stamina issue that Pyro has, and it should have been like, oh hey, Pyro should not have been able to do what it did in the movie, but in the movie we saw,
like Pyro can control fire,
right, but not to a massive extent. It's like overloading the circuit. He can only take but so much. And it's like, I guess they didn't want to keep Johnny, or they didn't want to keep Chris Evans in the movie too long because
They even
Right.
joke about that. They're like, of course he had to die. Well, like, we couldn't afford him anymore.
So
You know, it's that whole Stan Lee thing. It's like who would win between blah blah blah. It's like whoever I need to win in that moment. You know, like
exactly.
it's that kind of thing. You know, and then Deadpool basically like essentially like leaves with Wolverine. They end up meeting Nice Pool, and then they end up meeting like the little dog,
Oh, nice pool. That
Mary
guy was
Poppins and Deadpool.
that was
Um,
hilarious.
yeah, and then they end up like taking his car. They going up for basically joyride. They end up getting into a fight in the car, which is so much fun.
Wait, you got to tell them. You got to tell them about the car. Tell them why the car is significant in this movie right now.
Well, when he was selling cars, he was bitching and complaining about the Kia Odyssey or whatever like that, saying like this other vehicle was so much better. And then they end up getting a Kia Odyssey, and then that's the whole thing. And then he eventually kind of turns his mind on the thing. He's like, this vehicle kind of fucks, you know, like, and they kind of do that stuff. And yeah, they have this huge fight in the car. And then eventually it ends with them kind of like passed out, and like Deadpool is just like wrapped around like 20 times with a like extended length seatbelt.
Whoever was in that room when they were scripting this movie and what, let's have a fight scene in a car.
Yeah,
Needs a raise.
yeah, it was really
I've
good.
never seen a fight scene like that in a car. Never. And it wasn't
Yeah.
like after they fought and Deadpool got kicked out the car, it was like, come back to the car, let's go. And they kept going.
Yeah, and it's kind of like for me, it's a play off of the Deadpool leak, because the Deadpool leak for the first film was a fight inside the car. And so for me, it was kind of like, okay, well, what if we did that exact fight, but between Wolverine and Deadpool?
No, I know
So
some people are going to say to me, but Keith, they had a fight scene in a car in Captain America, the Winter Soldier. They did, but not to that extent.
yeah,
Nowhere near.
no, they did such a good job with that fight. And so then basically they passed out. You see a bunch of boots walk up, and then the car drive off, and then it cuts to Wolverine and Deadpool waking up. They're in the remnants of the runes from Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, where Scarlet Witch's like that whole like thing where she dies in that film and stuff like that is there. It's that. And then basically a bunch of people show up, and we get Jennifer Garner back as Elektra. They talk about how Daredevil died, and she's like, it's okay, because the divorce that she had with Ben Affleck was funny. We have Wesley Snipes come back as Blade, which is interesting because like at the time when they filmed, when Ryan Reynolds and Blade and Wesley Snipes had filmed one of the Blade movies, Wesley Snipes wasn't a fan of Ryan Reynolds. They had kind of a weird beef, and then they kind of squashed that. And then you also have Channing Tatum fulfilling his dream of being Gambit.
That was so weird.
It was so
gained
funny.
some weight for that. He looked little. He looked a little fuller in his face when I saw him. I was like, wow.
I don't know if it's like the head sock kind of thing, pushing his cheeks out or something like that. I don't know if it's that, because generally when you have something around your face, it is going to kind of push it out. But
it was also interesting when they were talking to Blade. It was kind of funny yet frustrating at the same time, because when he talked to Blade, and obviously he recognizes some of these people, and he was like Blade, and he was like the one and only. There's only ever going to be one Blade or something to that effect.
Yeah, they make that line, even though there was a TV series with Blade, so that doesn't make any sense. I think they just forgot about it.
And they're trying to make another movie of Blade, but that keeps falling apart. So who knows if that's ever going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. But no, like honestly, like Channing Tatum as Gambit, I thought it was so dumb it was funny. Like honestly, I don't think it would have worked as a movie. Like if that was the accent and everything that he was going for, or if he was just playing that up even more. Because Deadpool even makes a comment where it's like, we have to have words with your dialect coach. You know, I can't understand you, and you're spouting all this exposition. And then he keeps making comments about how like he thinks he was born in the void, and that everyone's like, yeah, it's like we save people, and then he's like, that's what I wanted to do. Like, you know, like he never got to fulfill it, and it's baked into all his dialogue. Um, and so then they basically he basically convinces them to kind of storm Cassandra Nova's. Oh, and then X-23 essentially, you know, Laura, she shows up
That was
basically,
my
and it's
favorite one, and I was kind of frustrated by seeing her because like you took her and brought her in here for what reason? That was the end of that one of Logan, but it
yeah,
makes more sense towards later down the road.
yeah. I mean, they before they head out in the morning, whatever. X-23 and Wolverine have this kind of moment, and he tells them that like a bunch of humans essentially came for the X-Men because the racial tensions essentially was catastrophic on their Earth, and those humans basically killed all of the X-Men.
Which frustrates me because again, being a comic guy, and I'm so sorry, Jeff, that I keep interjecting because
No, go for
this
it.
part pissed me off because it's like, wait, you got, and depending on which X-Men you're referring to, so we got Jean Grey,
Yeah,
we've got.
Beast and Storm is who
You
they
mean to
mentioned.
tell me that everybody took down Jean Grey,
Yeah,
Storm, be like Storm? Are you Storm? Seriously, guys? I was like, come on, that doesn't make any sense.
I think it just came down to that they weren't going to essentially commit genocide, and then essentially like they just weren't able to fight back in that way. Where we don't know how capable the humans are in that world as well too. I think like it isn't exactly clear on how that happened. That wasn't my favorite part. There's a part coming up later that I think is just the worst part in the film, and the only part in the film where I can be like, I absolutely hated it. But yeah, so they eventually storm Cassandra Nova's place. They kind of have this big fight. You get to see like Gambit using his cards and the bow staff and all that stuff. You get to see all the fights there going on, and the plan is essentially to get Juggernaut's helmet to put it on Cassandra Nova so that they can incapacitate and kill her.
That right there frustrated me because before this they talked about how they could take her down, and they were like, and Deadpool was like, "What about Magneto? Oh, she killed him." One of the strongest mutants in the world, and you killed him, but you killed him first and then melted down his helmet. But you couldn't get in his head because the helmet stopped you from getting to his head. That was one of the
Yeah,
things. I was like,
but
what?
there's tons of ways to get that helmet off. Like,
Magneto?
yeah,
This is Magneto. He's
it's hard
pretty
to
good
say
at keeping people
exactly.
away.
There could have been like just, you know, it's one of those things where they need to push the plot forward. It's like
Right.
Spider-Man getting shot with a bullet, like that wouldn't happen.
Exactly. But comic book fans like you and I and everybody else go, wait, that doesn't make any sense. This is like one of the strongest mutants in the world. And one of the guys who's like, you know what? I don't give a F. If I got to kill you, I'll just kill you. Done deal.
Yeah.
So it's, again, you're right. We have to
Yeah.
push plot. A lot of people who are comic book fans are probably going, wait, doesn't make any sense. But everybody else is like, okay, yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, that's good. Go ahead.
Yeah. But no, they storm there. They give Wolverine and Deadpool basically the chance they can get in there. And then one thing I think that was neat is like her throne is Thanos's throne from Infinity War. So that was kind of neat there. And all about like her base is inside the skull of
Ant-Man, which was in a comic, which I forgot. I think it was like, it was called, what was it called? Ant-Man Falls in a comic at one point. I have to look that up. I'm pretty sure that's what it was called. Sure.
But yeah, they have their fight there, and it doesn't go particularly well until Laura X-23 kills Juggernaut, and then basically like chucks the helmet in there. And then as she is manipulating Wolverine's psyche to get to essentially break him, Logan realizes that Deadpool has got back up after being like hit, and they put the helmet on her. But you also then find out that Pyro essentially has been kind of like in contact with Paradox and has been told to kill Cassandra Nova, and he puts a couple bullets in her, and in order for her to survive, they take the helmet off and then make a deal with her to send them back and to essentially like not kill any of their friends, to go back. And so they end up going back to their universe, which is the 10,005 Earth.
I'm sorry. It was Pim Falls from Old Man Logan.
Okay.
And if you got to think about it, the void was kind of very reminiscent of Old Man Logan.
Yeah, because even like, I mean, Red Skull doesn't make an appearance, but his car does. There's that kind of stuff. It would have been neat to have like the blind Hawkeye in some capacity, but yeah, there's a lot of Old Man Logan stuff that they do. Because I mean, even one of the variants that they try and get is the Old Man Logan Wolverine. He's like on a patio and stuff, and he's got a shotgun. So they end up going back to their universe, and Cassandra ends up following them because she's pissed because Pyro tells her that Paradox sent him to kill her, and they thought they had a deal. And then so she comes back to the universe, and meanwhile, Paradox has this device that can rapidly drain a universe's life because he's tired of the TVA not pruning things, essentially. And then Cassandra Nova can use that machine to undo all of the timelines, like all of it, and just have everything collapse into the void. And so anyways, after Wolverine and Deadpool kind of get beaten around by Cassandra Nova again, the magic circle thing, like she has the Doctor Strange little thing and stuff like that for doing ring. Like the sling rings.
Apparently an amateur magician paid her a visit.
Yeah.
And you can see the torn cape of Strange on her desk.
Yeah, and the weird thing as well too that doesn't kind of make any sense is the sling ring has the red and green Infinity Stones on each side of it, even though it's already been stated that the Infinity Stones don't work in when it's not their dimension.
Right.
So yeah, the sling ring portal is still there, and then basically the Deadpool brigade essentially come out, and there's a kind of a funny scene with Nicepool where like he gets brutally murdered by them because Deadpool assumed that he had regeneration.
No.
But it was also kind of like a ploy to get his guns.
And his dog.
Yeah, and his dog.
Oh, that dog was sick. That tongue. Oh.
Yeah.
No. I would not put a dog like that. No.
But no, he ends up getting the guns and stuff, and then Wolverine and him are like, all right, we're gonna fucking do this. And then Wolverine puts on the mask, and oh my god,
I think the theater went crazy when that happened.
It was the entire everything that I wanted. And like the one thing that I'll say that may not necessarily make sense, but for me it makes perfect sense. Deadpool and Wolverine, like when he puts on that mask, and even before that, Deadpool and Wolverine for me is the first time Hugh Jackman has played Wolverine. He's played Logan. He's played a character named Wolverine. He's played all of those parts and pieces.
Right.
But this is the first time he's played Wolverine. Like he does all the poses. He does the little like trot running and type of stuff like that. Like he does all of the things that we've seen Wolverine do in comics, in video games, in cartoon series. Like he's got the poses down pat. The mask looks incredible. I saw somebody complaining that like he doesn't blink, and I'm like, if someone wears sunglasses, do you expect the sunglasses to blink? Because those are lenses.
I think Spider-Man spoiled that for everybody, and everybody assumes that a mask is going to have that ability to actually do that, and that's no. And Wolverine never does that. I've never seen Wolverine do that.
I think they probably had that in the comics, just as like kind of like showing off certain facial expressions and stuff, just because it's hard to convey that sometimes in comics in just a still image. But that mask looked amazing. That fight was super fun because he basically, like, you have Lady Deadpool, who's voiced by Blake Lively, played by a stunt person. You had Cowboy Deadpool that was voiced by Matthew McConaughey. Nathan Fillion voiced that little like floating head Deadpool. The little girl that mouths off Deadpool and Wolverine. That was his kid. That was his daughter. The baby was voiced by his baby. No, lots of neat little fights and stuff, and it's similar in some ways to like almost like the Shang-Chi fight where they fight in like the bus and stuff like that. So you have a lot of window shots of them fighting and doing all that kind of stuff, and There's a lot of just neat little attacks and neat little Deadpools. I love the one Deadpool that had almost like the T-Rex arms. He's like, oh, like it's just so funny. But no, like that fight was great. And then to me, the worst part of the movie was the whole fight. Like they all get they Deadpool and Wolverine win. They kill all of them. They smash out the back of the van in a really cool pose, and Wolverine's just looking fucking badass. And then they all get back up, and they're all about to start the fight over again. And then Peter comes in dressed as Deadpool, and everyone's like, "Yay, Peter, Peter!" And the fight just ends.
I didn't understand that. I was like, did you not have a Peter? Like, what is the relevance of Peter here? I didn't understand that.
Apparently, they all have a Peter, so they had that in common. But I mean, like, well, so what? Like, you're just going to stop fighting because of that? Because, like, that's the thing that just, I don't know. To me, it felt like they had the idea for the fight. They didn't know how to end the fight. And they're just like, hey, what if we just bring Peter in and then that does all that?
I mean, to their point, it's kind of hard to end a fight when all the people in the fight can't die by conventional means.
Yeah.
So it just would have been a fight of attrition. Who got tired fast? Who got tired the most? Or who was completely tired? They can go forever. So
I just think that they're like, I don't know. I think what could have been even funny or something like that is where, like, instead of them all getting back up, basically they just load their bodies into the bus and then basically like drive the bus through the portal or something, like, something, like, I don't know. I think there's just ways that they could have done it.
I will say that I saw the movie. I wanted to say in the beginning, but I did. I saw the movie in 3D.
Yeah,
and
same.
When they smashed out that bus, first of all, the 3D in the entire movie was great. It wasn't a gimmick like some movies. It was fantastic. Beginning when they were fighting,
when he kicks the helmet and it goes like right up to the camera, and then all the font of the...
and when he throws the sword and the sword's coming around, like, holy crap, this was great stuff. I need to go back and see it again.
It's still not as good as one of the Final Destination movies where the rebar goes through
I don't watch those movies. I don't watch those movies.
God, the rebar was just like right there. It was amazing. But no, Wolverine and Deadpool, basically, they go down to try and stop Cassandra, and the only way of doing that is to destroy these two conduits that are underneath her, and then if they do that, they basically die. But Deadpool kind of tricks Wolverine, because Wolverine's like, I'll make the sacrifice. I've got nothing going on. And then he basically goes in there, and then Wolverine basically bashes through just as Deadpool's about to fail, because like the universe, essentially, like the clock, essentially the percentage meter is like down to like 2 or 3%. And then they basically grab arms, basically like hold onto the conduits, and their combined might kills Cassandra Nova and overloads the machine. And then
which didn't make any sense, but okay.
Yeah, they survive. I mean, you kind of need to have those things visually to kind of happen, but they survive. Paradox gets kind of caught by the TVA, and then it kind of cuts to this thing where like Wolverine's like, all right, I'm gonna go my own way here or whatever. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna find my path. And then Deadpool's like, no, we're your path. And brings him back to the house, whatever, and he gets to kind of hang out, and they have this big moment because Logan and Wolverine, like, they make a deal with the TVA where all of the people who were part of the Rebel forces get to go back to their universe, and since X-23's universe is that universe, she comes back and she's there during the scene with Wolverine and everybody. I do wish Wolverine would have had some scene with Colossus.
Right? He was completely useless. He did nothing.
Yeah. It just could have been like, it's good to see you, old friend, like that kind of stuff, because maybe his Colossus was killed during that thing. I don't know.
Yeah, that all was frustrating. I get it. They wanted to tie all up in a nice little bow and say, hey, fantastic movie, good to go. But as you mentioned, there were a lot of things that just didn't make any sense. There were a lot of wasted opportunities. I think Cassandra Nova was a fantastic villain, and they could have did more with her. And it's just sad to see her go out the way she did.
But I think, honestly, like, Cassandra Nova to me is the type of villain that is probably good for like an animated movie or like a TV series type of thing. But in terms of like a movie threat, I don't quite know. So I think that she was used well enough here because she was threatening. She did what she needed to do, but Paradox in a lot of ways was kind of like the central villain in a lot of ways because he
Yeah,
was the catalyst for doing that stuff. I do kind of wish that the post credit scene, like you would have had, the one with Chris Evans at the end, but after the main credits, I almost kind of wish, or after if they did fancy credits like they usually do, if they would have had one where like Paradox was sent to the void, and like
that would have been interesting.
and something would have happened, like just something stupid that would have got him killed, like just whatever it is, even if it was like those little blue bopping kind of like creatures that were in Loki that were also in this movie that you see scurrying around in the sand, something like that. But no, they I'm trying to think if I remember if we got all of the cameos.
We got Johnny Storm. We got
Yeah, I've got a list here,
Electra with
and
Blade,
yeah,
X-23.
yeah, we got them all.
No, there was God,
All
what
the
is her
main ones.
name? Lady Deathstrike was in there.
Yeah, but she was recast.
Right. But she was in there. There was the
Yeah,
character. Yeah, she was in
and then
there.
when they stormed the base, because there
Right.
was also
There
that
was
in
also
Psylocke.
was it Callisto? There
Something
was
like that, and then Azrael as well.
yeah, Ezreal
All
was in there, Callisto
each of
was in
those were
there,
recast.
the Russian was in there, the guy with the red and white shirt, he was in
Yeah,
there. Who else did we see? I try to remember. I'm pretty sure I was making a mental note of all the cameos that I saw. I'm pretty sure I'm missing one or two.
yeah,
I also want to say that the way they took out the Juggernaut was like, this is the Juggernaut, and you just cut his feet off. Like,
yeah. I mean,
it's not supposed to happen. He has the helmet on.
yeah, I don't know.
It
It
didn't
just
make any
happened.
sense.
I don't know. Like,
The Fantastic Car.
yeah, like the
Uh,
old school style one too, not the one
um,
from the actual movies.
the it wasn't the chimichanga truck. It was from something else. I'm trying to remember what it was for. Was that Iron Man's hot rod?
Yeah. So no, it was Red Skull's car done up like Tony Stark's hot rod, and there is even the hood ornament was a little Iron Man head. So like there was that end of it, but it was essentially supposed to be Red Skull's car. Um, but yeah, like there's lots of little Easter eggs, like
Just trying to
like
think. God.
everything down to like the door number of Wade Wilson's apartment and stuff like
Oh,
that.
obviously, Sabretooth. That was front and center. We all saw Sabretooth, obviously.
Yeah.
Um,
I do kind of wish that even if it was Tyler Mane coming back, that they would have done him up to look like comic Sabretooth with like the brown and yellow outfit and the white
that would have been
tuffles. Like
cool.
I kind of wish, because we got Wolverine in the costume, so I think having Sabretooth in that costume would have been fitting.
But I don't think they wanted to wait. See, just like with Johnny Storm, they didn't want to waste too much time. It would have been great. Us comic book fans would have been like, "Hey, that is freaking awesome!" But
Yeah.
and God, what was her name? The person from the TVA. Obviously, she was there, but she made an appearance. She was from Loki.
Yeah.
What's the deal of her and Peter? That was
Yeah, I don't know. There was this weird thing where it's like, you look really good in that suit. Yeah, I think that was just to give Peter more to do. Like I don't mind the Peter character and stuff, and like, oh, Shatterstar was even back too. Like apparently Deadpool went back in time and saved Shatterstar as well, because he was there as well too. He's one of the X-Force. But yeah, it's almost kind of weird that they didn't have like Domino wasn't there in that scene as
right
well too.
because that was the thing that confused me. Is like all of X Force is dead, but Peter was still alive, and so was Domino. So I was like, wait, what? That's not true.
It was probably just like they just were already overburdened with so many like cameos and actors and all that kind of stuff, because there was probably the ideas for like even more. Because like they could have probably even had Ben Affleck as Daredevil in some way, because Ben Affleck was on set visiting General Garner with his kids. But hard to say there. And then like again, like John Favreau was there as well too as Happy Hogan. And then they kind of make a joke where like Tony Stark is like too good for cameos, kind of things and stuff like that.
Apparently, he's not.
Oh come on, he's gonna be more than a cameo.
Oh God!
But no, like it's like again, I think the movie just absolutely nails what it needs to do. Like it's such a love letter to like the Fox characters. Like it could have been this like goodbye Fox, you know, because he even makes the joke. He's like, "Fuck you, Fox! I'm going to Disneyland." And grabs the camera. Like
that scene right there was amazing. He breaks the fourth wall again. He grabs the mic and he just begins to decimate them. It's like, yep,
yeah,
classic
but
Deadpool.
No, they do a good job kind of honoring the X-Men universe. They have that little behind the scenes featurette that plays throughout the credits, which was really nice. I kind of wish that they would have had one little nod to even the Fan Four Stick movie as well too, because they don't mention that Fantastic Four movie in any regard. Like I don't know if there's an Easter egg there. But
wait, which one? I'm sorry.
The one with Michael B. Jordan.
They just showed
Miles
Michael
Teller.
B. Jordan in the credits. That was
in that. But I'm talking
it.
about in the general movie. There's no nod to those ones as well. But no, like it's such a fun movie. Like I've seen like some websites and stuff, like GameStop gave it like a 4, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
There were a lot of people. This is my beef with, and I'm gonna go into a tangent. So grab your popcorn. There is a big issue within the journalist scene where you have people that have sticks shoved so far up their ass, they're not able to realize what fun is and how people are making fun of something or are not taking things as serious as they should be. This was not a movie that was to be taken seriously. What this was Ryan Reynolds making a movie with his friend, giving everybody the Deadpool and Wolverine movie that they've been asking for since forever.
Yeah,
bringing Wolverine and Deadpool into the MCU and establishing their positions, and that is literally it. People were going, "Well, this is not better than the first Deadpool movie."
Yeah, or they were like, "Oh, the tone was inconsistent." Like, have you watched the other 2 fucking movies?
It's like, this is Deadpool. Hello,
like that's what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be fun problem. And have heart and like.
And this is the problem.
Mixture.
As someone who takes a lot of ridicule and people get mad for gaming journalists because they're like, people don't know what they're doing. And I go, that's not true. Whatever. It should be the same for people that write reviews of stuff like this or do video reviews, things like this. Do you know the source material? No, not just the movies. Have you read the comics? Do you know some of the Marvel history? No.
Yeah.
You're not the person to review this movie. Pass. Get somebody else who knows what the hell they're talking about.
And the same thing too as well. If you have an outlet that is like just preaching Marvel fatigue and like we're tired of Marvel, blah 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 blah,
then don't
have them do it. Like have somebody who is like has an open mind of being like, hey, I want this to be good and blah blah blah, and like then they basically bash it. Like IGN, I think gave it like a 7, and they're doing nothing but talking about it in for their engagement for social media.
Well, one, because they want the clicks. That's IGN. But there's nothing wrong with saying I don't agree with this movie. But for you to go and say it's a terrible movie out of spite, it's completely different.
Yeah. But like for me, it's like there's nothing in that movie that's a 4.
No, nothing.
Like that's
unless you don't like fun.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I loved it. You know, like, is it flawed? Sure. Are there a couple scenes that I don't care for? Yeah, obviously.
I mentioned throughout this show that the things that I had an issue with, but altogether the package was fun. It was a great movie to sit down and watch with my wife. It entertained my inner child. It let me relive a lot of things that I read in the comics. It was a fun movie to sit down and watch for 2 hours, which they make fun of that as well, because people are used to watching movies.
Yeah, they're like, audiences are accustomed to long running times.
Yeah, it was great. And again, this is Deadpool. Deadpool breaks the fourth wall. This is his character. This is I'm gonna say the wrong word. An amalgamation, or what did you say? It is a mixture of
Wolverine,
Spider-Man, and to an extent, the Punisher. Spider-Man with his wisecracks, Wolverine because his healing factor can't die and likes to fight, and the Punisher because he doesn't give a damn.
Yeah, and the nice thing about like the Deadpool and Wolverine fights is both characters have a healing factor, so you can just cut loose.
Exactly.
Like there's no limits on what you can do, and their fights are fantastic. And I like how they're constantly at each other's throats, and they kind of earn that thing because he's like,
did you catch the video game reference in there? Every time he fought and he used his weapons, he just used his weapons. But every time he used baby knife, every time he called it out. Just like you're doing a fireball, you Hadouken, he calls out that every time.
Yeah, that was super funny. Like there's such a nice like attention to detail with this movie, like in terms of like not just the cameos, not just the costumes, not just everything, but like they do such a good job making like every little detail count. And like again, like that the like Wolverine mask was everything that I wanted it to be. It didn't look stupid or corny, whatever. Like it looked amazing. And like Jackman, like probably in the best shape of his life.
Holy shit, dude. They did that on purpose. At the very end, when they just ripped off his shirt, like first of all, like I would never ever become that jacked, and I'm jealous. Like how long I remember him being on the Tonight Show or one of the shows, and he was complaining how much she had to eat and what he didn't like, and he was just so tired of it. But oh my god. Okay, so this is what I wanted to see real quick. So get out of the way, you stupid ad. I wanted to see how much this movie made at the box office so far, and it said it opened up at 205 million during the weekend. That's
it's expected to make about 400 million by the end of tonight.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's going to make a lot of money because again, it's going to get a lot of repeat viewings. It's got a lot of people waiting for like cheap Tuesdays and all that kind of stuff. Like
8th biggest opening of all time among any film.
Yeah, it's the number one
R-rated film.
R-rated film in terms of making money, or fastest opening. Like it's doing everything they need to do. Like Feige has already kind of commented that he would love to have like Wolverine and Deadpool kind of be featured like prominently in more stuff. So I mean, they're definitely going to be part of Doomsday and Secret Wars. But no, there's a lot of really, really cool stuff that I'm super excited for, especially because like Deadpool essentially is breaking the fourth wall and stuff. So having him interacting full time, because they have this whole running joke through the entire movie where we see a scene from Secret Wars essentially where like Thor is holding like a dying Deadpool essentially, and every single time Deadpool passes out or wakes up, he's like, Hemsworth, Thor, what?
Right.
Asgard. Like even when like Johnny Storm dies, this guy's like, he's not my favorite Chris. Like there's just lots of neat little moments and stuff like that. But no, like I think they did a good job hiding a lot of the cameos. I know that the only reason that they spoiled the X-23 one in the last trailer is because Daphne Keane wanted to be part of the red carpet stuff.
See, and this is why I didn't watch that trailer, because everybody was like, spoilers. And I was like, nope, I don't want to know it. I don't want to see it. Don't tell me. I want to go in this movie completely blind.
Yeah.
And I
like
loved it.
The part in the trailer that she's in is the like, you were never the right guy. Like that line, like that part was in the trailer. But no, it'll be interesting to see kind of what they do, because like the characters still exist in the 10,005 universe. Like they didn't make the jump to the MCU. So it'll be interesting to see exactly like how they actually get into the MCU in a certain respect, because like they do kind of do, like Cable's time thing is, as far as I know, not really supposed to be jumping like universes and stuff like that, even though he does to go to the 616 universe. But now he's got a temp pad, so it'll be interesting to see.
I'm pretty sure they took that temp pad from him.
Well, I mean, he took it. He has it basically in the post credits to show off Chris Evans' little tirade of swears.
Yeah.
So,
but that's a.
He could have snuck one. It's Deadpool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't take the ending as canon, because we didn't see it happening during the movie. It was just like he did say it, and it was funny because you're watching it right end scene, and Chris is talking, and Deadpool's like, I'm going to snitch. He keeps on talking. It was great.
He even predicts his death too. It's like, I don't care if she like zaps the skin off me and blah blah blah. Like,
And I gotta say that Ryan Reynolds is a wordsmith. Holy crap. Wow. Just the stuff that he was saying and how he was saying, and he didn't drop the ball. Like, woo, good stuff. If you haven't
yeah,
seen the movie and you're a fan of you're a fan of Deadpool and Wolverine, or you just like cool superhero movies that people keep saying are dead, go see this. Just go see
yeah.
it.
No, it's like it's honestly everything that you could possibly want from a Deadpool and Wolverine fight or movie, because like it has like everything that those characters needed to do. The fight scenes are absolutely fantastic. They're gory, they're violent. Like, Hugh Jackman puts on the mask and just literally becomes Wolverine, like the Wolverine like that we see in in cartoons and in comics and in video games. Like he's literally that Wolverine this time
He's just taller.
because yeah, yeah, like they do such a good job. Like all of like the cameos and stuff are just kind of like icing on the cake. Um, but yeah, like to me, yeah, again, like to me, this is the first time Hugh Jackman's played Wolverine, like in quotes, because like we got to see everything that we kind of wanted to do there. The last thing that I do want to mention as well too is I had Jordan send me his thoughts on the film as well too, so that we can get his opinion on that.
He's not sick. He's playing Elden Ring. I know he is. He's lying.
He's got the legacy virus, so he's keeping in touch with like Cable and Strife, and they're figuring that shit out. All right, so Jordan's comments film was fantastic. It felt like a fitting farewell to the Fox universe, and seeing Jackman wear the yellow and blue finally was a delight. The cameos were great, and I particularly enjoyed finally getting to see Channing Tatum's Gambit. I think he would have been surprisingly good in the role based on the little we got to see of him. I think like it's hard to say exactly like what Channing Tatum's like Gambit would have been in the actual film. Because here in the cameo role, I think it works extremely well. I think it plays off Ryan Reynolds extremely well with, the Cajun accent essentially being like very difficult to kind of determine what it was. Like, I'm surprised Deadpool didn't do something like, it's like, hey, subtitles, can we get subtitles here? Like just something. But yeah, no, unbelievably entertaining film.
The only problem I have with that, Jordan, when you see this, is we're still not completely gone from the Fox universe. We still got one more character that's stuck over there. When he comes over, then we'll be done.
What do we got?
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Back it up. Brain's not working. You're right, Jordan. Brain's not working. It was based on a conversation my wife and somebody was having last night about Disney getting back all their characters. Like, they still don't have Spider-Man yet, and they don't have Spider-Man universe, which obviously is Sony. And is there one more other character that we don't have back over here yet? Spider-Man, Venom, what's part of Spider-Man? Hulk.
Because Hulk is like, they can't make like a standalone Hulk movie because of Universal owns the rights for distribution on that. Same with like I think there's certain rights with Namor as well. However, I don't think
there's a big issue of Namor. Big issue. We're not seeing him ever in MCU. We're not seeing him.
Well, we got him in the Black Panther, but I mean, I don't think we'll get him again or anything like that. Even though like they do kind of hint that Black Panther 3 is going to be a tease to that as well, because they kind of leave that undone. But in terms of like a Namor movie, I don't think we'll forget that.
Can you imagine this? Just where we are right now, and going back in time, and that decision by Marvel to go, we need to sell these characters, we need to sell these properties to keep money, to make money, to stay afloat. And it's like, man, your future, it's going to be so crazy that maybe some of these characters is just the wrong thing to do. Obviously, if you didn't, you would have been gone. But
yeah, well, they sold the rights for Spider-Man for cheap because they were like desperate. And I don't think they'll ever get that back. I think Sony will run that franchise into the ground themselves with things like Morbius and Madam Web and all that bullshit.
Madam Web, oh god,
I haven't even watched that yet. I have no interest.
No, actually go watch it. You go watch it and roll your eyes and go, "What the hell is this movie?"
Yeah,
you can watch it, and then goggle your eyes out with salt or something. You're going like, "What the hell is this movie?"
No.
But as comic book fans, guys and gals, we are eating good. This is a great movie. This is God again one of my favorite movies in the MCU. I'm glad to see this was finally made. I'm glad to see we got to see a true to form Wolverine, not Logan, because Logan was very depressing. That was did there was that was Wolverine on his last leg. I don't give a crap anymore. And they also had a bit of that in this movie. I don't think he went over it, but there was a scene in the movie where Cassandra Nova gets inside of Wolverine's head, and we finally understand, what was going on. Basically, there was an attack. The X-Men asked Wolverine not to leave. He left anyway, and then apparently they were attacked. We can only assume that it was Sentinels and all
Yeah.
this fun stuff, and all the X-Men were killed. And Wolverine feels bad that
Well, I
he
think it was
wasn't
like the
there.
humans killed the X-Men or
Yeah,
whatever, and then he wears the suit because it's the last reminder that he
right.
has of the X-Men, because Scott and everybody had bugged him to wear it. So he was wearing it under his civilian clothes. Like, he just never took it off. It was just like a constant reminder.
So we
And
got
he's
that
like,
out of there.
yeah. And he's like, go ahead, kill me. I'm over 200 years old or whatever. Like, he was just kind of at his wit's end. But no, they again, like, they do a fantastic job with this movie. I think it's just one of those things where it's like, when you really respect the source material, you just create pure magic out of it. Like, they're not trying to butcher it. Like X-Men Origins Wolverine, like, that was made by people who just didn't really grasp the character well. Like, the suits at Fox were just in everybody's head. I mean, they tried to fire the Gavin Hood, like the director that was working on it. Like, they even had people visit the set as a producer just in case conversations didn't go well, to bring them in, because they were going to have Richard Donner come in and essentially finish the film. And it was just a butchering of that, of everything that they were doing there, because the original script that was worked on by Gavin Hood and Hugh Jackman just never saw the light of day. They wanted to do they wanted to essentially do what Logan did. But
Well, we finally got it. And this just goes to prove yet again that if you're trying to make a movie or a video game based on something that already exists, that you should always cite the source material, because there are people out there like myself and Jeff and millions upon millions of other fans who will go, "What is this drivel? This is not what we wanted." And your movie sucks.
yeah, you
Or
get
your
things
film
like
sucks.
Catwoman or the new Fantastic Four movie.
Or what was that terrible Marvel TV show with Nick Fury? What was it called again? I purged it from
Oh,
my brain.
Secret Invasion,
Oh,
where it was just like, yeah, we're just going to take the name. There'll be some Skrulls. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
the TV series that was so bad that when the Marvels came out, I was like, wait, is that the same Nick Fury? Like, what happened? He's completely different now.
Who knows?
Yep. Some people are just boneheaded.
Just thank you for joining the MCU. You're entering here at a kind of a low point. Like, I don't know, so good. But no, thank you very
When you
much,
going back?
Keith.
When you
Sorry?
going back? When you going back?
To see it?
Yeah.
Oh God, I wish I could afford it right now. But I do want to see it at least one more time in theaters. Like, I got my tickets essentially based off my Scene card, because Scene is a big Canada based card and stuff. So, like, it's easy enough to earn money back to kind of put towards the tickets and stuff. So I'll have to check my Scene balance and see. But hard to afford it right now. But I definitely do want to see it at least one more time in theaters.
I'm definitely gonna go. I don't know when I'm gonna go back. I have to go back now because funny story. When we went to go see the movie, we went to a theater that actually lets you eat. They bring food out to you. And
Yeah, we have like
yeah.
that too.
So when we got our seats, it's my wife is a little short, so we sat down and her chair went way back, and I'm like, wait, that's not supposed to happen, is it? And she says no, and she's wiggling her feet in the air. I'm like, so you can't touch the ground, and your chair's all the way back. So we called one of the people. I said, hey, this chair's busted. So then they called the manager out. The manager's like, oh, we're gonna move you to a different location, and here are 2 tickets to come see any movie you want. I'm like, you didn't have to do that. I would have been happy with just new seats. So thank you very much. So we
Nice.
have to go back before those passes expire.
That's awesome.
It's either that or Alien Romulus. Is Romulus?
Romulus?
Yeah. And my wife is like, no, I'm not going with you to see Aliens. I'm like, come on.
I guess there was like somebody that auditioned for that movie, and the director had asked him if they had seen the first 2 Aliens films, and he's like, "Oh, Prometheus and blah blah blah. Yeah, I've seen those." And the director was basically just in his head going, "You're not getting the role."
Those are not the first 2, buddy. You should
Young people. It's like the people bitching about the T1000 and MK1. They're like, "Who the heck is this guy?"
But yet so many people like us, and it feels weird. Or like, I wonder if he can turn to liquid metal and do other things. Like that's yeah, that'd be interesting if he can do that. Turn into the same character. There you go. Morph into the same character. Sold.
Pretty much. A little Shang Tsung action going on. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining for the Deadpool and Wolverine spoiler cast. If you've seen the film, which I hope so, and if not, I'm so sorry that we spoiled it. Sound off in the comments about like, what was your kind of favorite cameo, and like what was your favorite portrayal of any of these characters, especially with Hugh Jackman, coming back as Wolverine and donning the yellow and blue suit. All sorts of really fun stuff there. I guess Cable didn't test well originally, so I think that's why he probably wasn't back in some capacity.
I don't think he would have fit. I don't think he would have fit the mold, to be honest with you. Cable in there.
Yeah. But yeah. All right. Well, that is it for us here at Analog Stick Gaming with the Gaming Mix podcast for our Deadpool and Wolverine spoiler cast. So thank you very much, and we will see you guys next time.
Take care.